This quote right here, it absolutely says it all. We're about to get into a story of the highest highs you can imagine and some truly crushing lows. It's a journey filled with insane setbacks and legendary awards. And honestly, it's a story that, right at the very beginning, almost never even happened.
So, where does a story like this even begin? Well, we're not starting in some massive, glamorous stadium. Nope. Our story starts on the small Portuguese island of Madeira, in a town called Funchal. This is where it all began, built on hardship and a whole lot of hope. If you really want to get what makes Cristiano Ronaldo tick, you have to go all the way back. Just try to picture this, a family of 5 all living together in a single room. His dad was a kit man for a little local club, and his mom worked tirelessly just to put food on the table. And sometimes she couldn't. Life wasn't just difficult, it was a constant daily struggle.
So what do you do when that's your reality? For young Cristiano, there was only one answer, one way out: football. It was so much more than a game for him. It was his safe space, his escape. He would spend hours upon hours in the streets, just playing, getting better, with this incredible focus that would end up defining his entire life.
And then comes this single moment, a moment that changes everything. And the wild part is, it all came down to a friend's generosity. He's at a trial for the big Sporting Lisbon Academy, and the rule is simple. Whoever scores the most goals gets the spot. His teammate, Albert Fantrau, is in the lead. Albert gets a breakaway. He's one-on-one with the goalie. It's an empty net, a guaranteed goal, and what does he do? He passes it. He gives the goal to Ronaldo. Ronaldo scores, wins the contract, and his career is officially launched. Just an unbelievable, life-changing moment.
So, thanks to that one incredible act of friendship, Ronaldo's on his way. He's tearing it up at Sporting, but his real introduction to the entire planet, well, that was about to happen against one of the biggest clubs in the world.
Get this, it all goes down in a so-called friendly match. This 18-year-old kid puts on an absolute clinic, running circles around the Manchester United defense. The legendary manager, Sir Alex Ferguson, is watching from the sideline, and he's seen enough. He basically told his staff, "We are not leaving the stadium until we sign him." He just knew. $19 million. Let that sink in. That's what they paid for a teenager that most people outside of Portugal had never even heard of. It was a huge risk, a massive gamble, but it was also a powerful statement of belief from one of the most respected managers in the game.
And here's the best part. When Ronaldo gets to Manchester, he's a bit nervous and asks for the number 28 jersey. But Sir Alex Ferguson just looks at him and says, "No, you're not having 28, you're having number 7. Now, at Manchester United, that's not just any number, it's the number, worn by club icons like George Best and David Beckham. It was a ton of pressure for sure, but it was also the ultimate vote of confidence. And just like that, CR7 was born. So everything's going perfectly, right? He's becoming a superstar, he's finally making enough money to lift his family out of poverty, and then, just as he's hitting these incredible new heights, his whole world comes crashing down. This part of the story, this is what it's all about.
His relationship with his father, it was complicated. His dad struggled with alcoholism, a lot of which came from the stress of not being able to provide for his family. And the most heartbreaking part of it all, just when Ronaldo was finally in a position to help, to change everything for him, his father's health gave out. He passed away, leaving Ronaldo completely shattered.
And right there, in that moment of just pure grief, something inside him shifted. This is it. This is the origin of that famous elite mentality we all talk about. He made a new promise. It wasn't about him anymore. He vowed that he would become the best player in the world, for one simple reason, just to see his family happy. And that promise? It became pure rocket fuel. What happened next was just an explosion of success, a relentless, non-stop pursuit of greatness, all while going head-to-head with his greatest rival in one of the most epic battles in sports history.
And he didn't wait long to deliver. Just 2 years after his father's death, he put together a season for the ages. Bam! A record 31 goals in the league. Bam! Top scorer in the Champions League. Then he wins the whole tournament. And to top it all off, he's officially crowned the best player in the world, winning his first Ballon d'Or. Promise made, promise kept.
Then, in 2009, he makes this jaw-dropping world record move to Real Madrid, and that's when the real fireworks start. For the next decade, it was Ronaldo versus Messi. Every single week, they pushed each other to levels we had never seen before, fighting over every trophy, every record. They didn't just play football, they defined an entire era. I mean, his time in Madrid was just packed with iconic moments, but 2 in particular really stand out. First, in 2014, winning the Champions League, the trophy Real Madrid had been obsessed with for over a decade. He delivered it. But then, Euro 2016. In the final, he suffers this devastating injury and is stretchered off the field in tears. You think his dream is over, right? No way. He gets back up and basically becomes the coach on the sideline, passionately pushing his team to an impossible victory.
It was incredible. The boy from Madeira had led his nation to glory.
So, he's conquered England, he's conquered Spain, he's won it all for his country. What could possibly be left? Well, he decided it was time for new challenges, and this final act of his career is really where the whole story comes full circle.
His moves to Juventus and Italy, and then his big emotional return to Manchester United, well, they didn't quite hit those same incredible highs. And this period was also struck by another unimaginable personal tragedy, the loss of his baby son, Angel. He's described it as the absolute worst moment of his life.
And then, when everyone was wondering what was next, he did something nobody saw coming. He signed for Al Nassr in Saudi Arabia for this absolutely mind-blowing salary, 200 million euros a year. But it was way more than just a paycheck. It was a power move that put a whole new league on the global map and proved that even in his late 30s, he was still one of the biggest forces in sports.
And this is where it all connects. Let's go back to the very beginning. Remember that kid in the one-room apartment in Funchal? The boy whose family sometimes went hungry? Well, he became one of the highest-paid athletes in the history of sports. He didn't just escape his circumstances. He completely rewrote the entire script.
So I'll leave you with this one question. When you look at this whole incredible roller coaster, the poverty, that act of kindness from his friend, the promise he made to his family, the trophies, the rivalry, all the tragedy and all the triumph, what do you think was the single moment that truly defined him? What was the moment that made Cristiano Ronaldo, Ronaldo?